Welcome to CinePreviewHub, your go-to destination for exciting movie recaps. The story begins in 2001 in the newsroom of the Boston Globe, a newspaper with a long-standing reputation for hard-hitting journalism. A team of investigative journalists known as Spotlight is at the center of the action. Led by their editor, Walter "Robbie" Robinson, this small but dedicated group has earned respect for their meticulous research and ability to uncover the truth, no matter how deeply it may be buried. Their work involves months, sometimes even years, of investigation into stories of public interest. The team consists of Michael Rezendes, an investigative reporter with a relentless passion for the truth. Sasha Pfeiffer, a seasoned journalist with a keen sense of empathy for the victims she interviews. Matt Carroll, a data and research expert who dives into public records to uncover hidden patterns. Together, they form the backbone of the Spotlight team, driven by their collective mission to hold the powerful accountable. A new editor arrives at the Globe, Marty Barron, a no-nonsense professional who is unafraid of making waves. He immediately takes notice of an old article about a local Catholic priest accused of molesting children. Marty wonders why the story wasn't followed up on. He suggests that the Spotlight team dig deeper into this issue. Robbie and the team are initially unsure, as investigating the Catholic Church is no small task, especially in a city like Boston where the church wields significant influence. Despite their reservations, the team starts to look into the case. What begins as an inquiry into one priest quickly escalates into a much larger investigation. As they dig into court records and talk to lawyers, the team realizes that this isn't just about one or two priests. They discover that there are dozens, perhaps even hundreds, of cases of sexual abuse by priests that have been quietly settled out of court, with victims silenced by non-disclosure agreements. The deeper they dig, the more disturbing the story becomes. They come across reports dating back decades, each telling a similar story of priests who abused their position of power to prey on young children. Each time a case was brought to light, the church would quietly move the priest to another parish, often without informing the community of his past misconduct. Michael and Sasha begin reaching out to victims. They hear heartbreaking accounts from people whose lives were destroyed by the abuse they suffered as children. Many of the victims are still grappling with the trauma of their experiences, and for some, this is the first time they have spoken about what happened to them. The victims describe the shame and guilt they carried for years, often blaming themselves for the abuse. These stories shake the team to their core, strengthening their resolve to uncover the full extent of the church's cover-up. Meanwhile, Matt is busy combing through public records. He uncovers a pattern of suspicious legal filings, settlements, and reassignments of priests that suggest a deliberate effort by the church to hide the truth. He discovers that many of these cases were handled by a handful of lawyers who specialized in negotiating settlements for victims of abuse. One of these lawyers, Mitchell Garabedian, is known for taking on the church in court. Michael reaches out to Garabedian, hoping to gain insight into how these cases have been handled over the years. At first, Garabedian is reluctant to talk, wary of the media and the power the church holds in Boston. However, as he sees the team's dedication to the truth, he opens up and provides them with critical information that reveals the breadth of the scandal. The investigation gains momentum. The team learns that the abuse is not limited to Boston. Similar patterns of abuse and cover-ups have occurred in dioceses around the world. It becomes clear that the problem is systemic, embedded deep within the structures of the church. As the Spotlight team pieces together the evidence, they face significant challenges. The Catholic Church, one of the most powerful institutions in Boston, does everything in its power to prevent the truth from coming out. There are priests, bishops, and even local politicians who are eager to maintain the status quo. The team receives pushback from the church's legal representatives and from community leaders who question whether this investigation is in the city's best interest. The investigation is also personally taxing for the journalists. Michael struggles with the emotional weight of hearing the victims' stories day after day. Sasha finds it difficult to interview survivors, knowing how deeply the abuse has scarred them. Robbie feels the pressure of leading a team into dangerous territory, knowing that powerful forces are working against them. Yet, despite these challenges, they remain committed to their mission. As the team closes in on the truth, they realize they need access to sealed court documents that could confirm the church's knowledge of the abuse. These documents are tied up in a lengthy legal battle, with the church doing everything it can to keep them from being released. Michael and the team continue to press forward, gathering more testimonies and evidence from survivors and legal experts. They track down former church officials who have since left the diocese, hoping to get insider information about how the abuse was handled internally. One former priest, now living in seclusion, reluctantly admits that the church knew about the abuse for decades but chose to cover it up to protect its reputation. At this point, the team realizes that the story they are uncovering isn't just about a few bad priests. It's about an institution that systematically protected abusers at the expense of innocent children. The more they investigate, the more it becomes clear that this cover-up goes all the way to the top of the church hierarchy. Finally, after months of relentless work, the Spotlight team gets a breakthrough. A judge orders the release of the sealed documents, and the team gains access to critical evidence that proves the church knew about the abuse and actively worked to hide it. These documents include internal memos and letters between church officials, outlining how abusive priests were reassigned to different parishes rather than being held accountable. With this hard evidence in hand, the Spotlight team knows they have the story they've been chasing. But the weight of the truth is immense. The scope of the abuse is staggering, and the church's involvement in the cover-up is undeniable. They are about to expose one of the most powerful institutions in the city and in the world for its role in enabling decades of abuse. As the team prepares to publish their findings, they reflect on the journey that brought them to this point. They know that once the story breaks, it will change the lives of thousands of people, survivors, church officials, and the broader community. There will be fallout, and it's impossible to predict how the church will respond. But they also know that the truth must come out, no matter the consequences. Marty Barron meets with the Spotlight team and gives his full support to publish the story. He understands the magnitude of what they are about to reveal and stands by their commitment to expose the truth. Robbie expresses his concerns about the potential backlash, but Marty assures him that the Globe will back them fully. The story is too important to keep hidden any longer. As the publication date approaches, the team finalizes their work. Michael and Sasha continue reaching out to survivors, preparing them for what's about to be revealed. Many of the survivors feel a mix of relief and anxiety. Finally, their stories will be heard by the world, but they also fear the repercussions of such public exposure. The team remains sensitive to their feelings, knowing how long they have waited for justice. The Spotlight team works late into the night, cross-checking facts, ensuring every detail is accurate. They know that the church will try to discredit their work, and they can't afford any mistakes. The weight of responsibility rests heavily on them, but they are driven by the knowledge that they are doing the right thing. Finally, the day comes. The Boston Globe runs the story on its front page, revealing the extent of the Catholic Church's involvement in covering up decades of sexual abuse by priests. The article names multiple priests who were allowed to continue working despite allegations of abuse and outlines the Church's systematic efforts to silence victims and protect its reputation. The response is immediate and overwhelming. The phone lines at the Globe are flooded with calls from survivors who had never spoken out before. Many of them share stories that echo the accounts already published, confirming that this was not an isolated issue but a widespread problem. Within days, the story is picked up by national and international media, sparking investigations into the Church's actions in dioceses around the world. The Church, facing mounting pressure, issues a formal statement. While some local leaders express sympathy for the survivors, others defend the institution, claiming that the Church has taken steps to address the issue. But the evidence presented by the Spotlight team is undeniable. The cover-up reaches the highest levels of the Church hierarchy, and the scandal is far from over. As the fallout from the story continues, the Spotlight team reflects on the impact of their work. They know that they have only scratched the surface of a much larger issue. But their investigation has given a voice to the survivors and has shed light on the corruption that allowed this abuse to continue unchecked for so long. The months following the publication of the Spotlight story are marked by a wave of legal actions and investigations. Victims come forward in droves, sharing their experiences with law enforcement and filing lawsuits against the church. The Catholic Church, once untouchable in the eyes of many, is now facing a reckoning. Dioceses across the country are forced to confront their role in the scandal, and many priests are removed from their positions. The Spotlight team continues to follow up on leads, uncovering more stories of abuse and institutional cover-ups. They know that their work is far from finished. The scale of the abuse is so vast that even with their initial story, there are still countless victims whose voices have yet to be heard. But the impact of their investigation has already been felt worldwide. Governments and law enforcement agencies in multiple countries launch their own inquiries into the church's actions, and similar patterns of abuse and cover-up are uncovered in cities far beyond Boston. Within the globe, the Spotlight team's work is hailed as a triumph of investigative journalism. Their tireless dedication to uncovering the truth, even in the face of powerful opposition, has set a new standard for accountability in the media. Their investigation is not just a victory for the survivors of abuse but for the principles of journalism itself, holding the powerful accountable and giving a voice to the voiceless. As the story spreads, more survivors gain the courage to speak out. The church, now under intense scrutiny, is forced to confront its past failures in dealing with abusive priests. Public pressure leads to new reforms, aimed at preventing future abuse and ensuring that those responsible are held accountable. But for many survivors, the damage has already been done. Their lives have been forever altered by the abuse they suffered and by the decades of silence that followed. The Spotlight team remains humble in the face of their success. They know that while they have helped bring about change, their work is just one step in a much larger journey toward justice. Each member of the team reflects on the personal toll the investigation took on them, but they are all united in their belief that the story was worth telling. As time goes on, the impact of the Spotlight investigation continues to resonate. The story serves as a reminder that even the most powerful institutions can be held accountable when the truth is pursued with determination and integrity. The Globe Spotlight team, through their relentless pursuit of the facts, has shown the world the importance of a free and fearless press. The film has been widely praised for its gripping and respectful portrayal of investigative journalism. It captures the nuances of the Spotlight team's tireless work, highlighting both the personal and professional challenges they faced in bringing the story to light. The film's performances and direction have been lauded, earning it a strong following among both critics and audiences alike. On IMDb, the movie holds a rating of 8.1/10, with many viewers commending its ability to tell such a sensitive and important story with grace and precision. The film is considered one of the best examples of how journalism can bring about real change in society. You can watch this critically acclaimed film on streaming platforms such as Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, and Hulu. It's a powerful reminder of the role of investigative journalism in uncovering the truth and a tribute to the survivors who finally had their voices heard. Guess the movie in comment section. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please show your support by liking, subscribing, and commenting below. Stay tuned for more thrilling content from CinePreviewHub.